Good evening, everybody. It's Pastor Jesse, and it's time for tonight's Connect Point. We have been looking, this week, we're going to be looking at Don't Waste Your Moment. I preached on this message yesterday, but I want to then this week in our devotional, I want to now expound on the message. Yesterday's message was Don't Waste Your Moment, but you can't in a message take in 40 minutes and really expound on it too much. So I want to kind of do that a little bit today and this week through this devotion. So this is the devotional part 1, Don't Waste Your Moment. If you haven't watched the message yet, you can still watch it on our website at lakepointcc.org, and you can go and you can watch that. But if not, if you want to wait to the end of the devotional week and do that, it doesn't really matter. This is just expounding on what we kind of talked about. But in that message, I asked 3 questions of us. And the first one was, how should I be thinking? What is it that I need to be thinking about, but how should I be thinking about it? And how should I be praying? How should we as a church be praying as to what the Lord is going to do in our church and in our area and around us? And thirdly, what should we be doing? So how should I be thinking? How should I be praying? And what should I be doing? These are 3 questions that you should be asking yourself as well. What are you thinking about this? How has your thinking changed from the beginning to what you're doing now? How are you praying? Are you praying more now than you were before? Or is it less than it was even before the lockdown? And what should you be doing in the next, going on into the next thing? What should we be doing? So you need to ask yourself that. And then I took 4 different observations that I've had during this time that I think really relate to us, these 4 different observations. I want to go and look at the first one tonight, which is we must honor the pause. We must look at the pause that is going on in our lives. And I mentioned in the message how I really like the new pace a little bit. I like that I'm not constantly on the go and going out and doing and go and being a part of that. I know this is for a season because there are times and there are seasons, as we know in Ecclesiastes, there are times that we should be moving and pushing and doing things. And there are other times that we need to be sitting back and resting as well. And this is one of those times that we are resting. So we really have to look at the pause. As I said, it's Selah. It's taking a pause, even as we can see in so many different of the written Psalms, there's that Selah, to pause and reflect. And this must be a time that we pause and that we reflect. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God, and I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." This is a be still time. This is a moment where we aren't really running and doing things and going. I know that we're starting to open up a little bit, and we're starting to do a little bit more than we've done in the past few weeks. But we really have to now look at this and say, what am I to be doing? Which is one of our questions. But am I supposed to still be still? Am I supposed to honor the pause and take this time to still focus and concentrate on the Lord? Because He is working, and He's still working even while we're waiting. He's still doing something within us, even though we're in pause and we're waiting. I like what Matthew 11:29 says, and it's speaking about Jesus. And He says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." And I like this because it shows where Jesus is saying, you have burdens, you have concerns, you have heaviness on your heart and on your life, but you need to take those burdens and put them onto me. Take my yoke. Take my burden. My burden is much lighter than yours. Think about that for a moment. Jesus' burden, the whole world on His shoulders, is even lighter than ours. We take His burden. We take what affects him and what helps his heart to concentrate on the things of Father God, what breaks his heart, what heals his heart. He wants those things, his burden, upon our life. And then look what it says in the rest of that verse, and you will find rest for your souls. Our burden is heavy. Our burden is hard to manage, but his is light. And when we take it, we find rest for our souls. We've been looking at Psalm 91, and for some of you, you may have recognized in the message this past week, talking about Psalm 91. When the quarantine and the lockdown actually happened, I read Psalm 91 to the church way back in my very first connect point to the church. I looked at Psalm 91, and I think it's a very important, it's almost become a theme, an anthem for this time and for this moment, Psalm 91. And in that, it's broken down into 3 different parts. We're going to look at the first part tonight, the call to abide in the presence of God. And this is what it says in Psalm 91, verses 1 through 2. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust. We need to say that. We need to physically speak that. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. You may want to pause this for just one moment. Hit pause and say, He is my refuge and my fortress. And when you stop that, you could say, He is the one I look to. He is the one that I find my protection. It's in Him that I trust. And I love that verse 1 and 2, because it talks about dwelling in the secret place with the Most High. And this is really echoing in Psalm 15. And I want to read the whole psalm tonight quickly, but this is a psalm of David. Lord, who may abide in your tabernacle? Who may dwell in your holy hill? Here are the people that can do that. Here, we need to be Psalm 15 people. He who walks uprightly and works righteousness and speaks the truth in his heart. He who does not backbite with his tongue, nor does evil to his neighbor, nor does he take up a reproach against his friend, in whose eyes a vile person is despised, but he honors those who fear the Lord. He who swears to his own hurt and does not change, he who does not put out his money as usury, nor does he take a bribe against the innocent. He who does these things shall never be moved. And if I had an action point for you tonight, it would be to sit down with Psalm 15 and go through each one of those in a few different versions of the Bible as well, and start lining by line exactly what David is saying in that, so that we can become people, Psalm 15 people. I love it. Not backbiting with our tongues, and not doing evil against our neighbor, and not taking up an offense from someone, especially from a friend, not looking at evil as a good thing that we should have in our lives, but something that we should despise. We should despise evil, not evil people per se, but what they do. We should not be a part of it. And one of my favorites, and it's difficult to do, but he who swears to his own hurt and doesn't change. And that's just old English of saying, when you say you're going to do something, you do it, even to the point where it may affect you and it may hurt you because you said you were going to do it, especially if it's the things of God. Most especially. I'm not talking about something that you shouldn't have said in the first place and you're going to do it anyway out of stubbornness. I'm talking about the things of God and the things in your life that you've said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be that person. I'm going to focus on that. Then that way, and you do that even through a sacrifice of your own, then that way you are the one who may abide in the tabernacle. You may dwell in the holy hill, which then goes back to Psalm 91, dwelling in the secret place of the Most High and abiding under the shadow of the Almighty. We must be people who abide, to bear patiently, to wait. Remember I said this, it's abiding is a pause but it's also movement. It's waiting in the pause, but getting ready so that when God says it's time to move, when God says it's time to speak, we start moving forward. It's honoring the pause. It's looking at this moment and not getting so restless. I know we're getting restless. I'm getting restless. We need a change. We need something. But let's make sure that what we're changing to, that whatever is coming next, is what God has for us in His mind and in His will as we move forward. So let's look at these things. I would encourage you after this is over to sit down and really think, how should I be thinking? How should I be praying? And what should I be doing? And taking this observation tonight, this observation of honoring the pause, and ask yourself, am I doing it? Am I honoring the pause? Am I seeking God in all of this during this time? So focus on that, and let's look at this. Tomorrow night, I'll be looking at the next connect point, and so hopefully you'll stay tuned for that. But tonight, honor the pause. Be blessed, be well, and we'll see you soon.